Jerry Lane Enterprises and Courtesy Motors present Paradise, Louisiana. With Gary Risponi and Don Dubuque. Paradise, Louisiana is also brought to you by Baton Rouge Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change, Cracker Barrel Convenience Stores. We have more than you expect. Always fresh, never frozen, Raising Cane's. Louisiana Fish Fry Products. Dimco, your touchstone energy cooperative. Pro Drive Outboards. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana. And Rouses Markets. You're either local or you're not.
Welcome to this week's edition of Paradise, Louisiana. Here we are, another Rouses in Slidell, one of the newest slow off of Gauss Highway.
The one close to I-10, because there's two right on Gauss Boulevard.
Yes, see,
one by Highway 11, one by I-10.
You see, that's just why we're in your past. You know all about it. I stayed lost for the last 2 weeks over here, trying to find chlorine pills on one area and everything else.
We need to get you a better GPS.
I did go to Mass though, in your church over there in Beta Spring. Now you said that St. James?
St. James de Chantal.
That's Santal. Okay.
How many times? Well, what we got a lot to talk about in honor of last weekend's National Catfish Day. Captain Ryan Lambert and I, Cajun Fishing Adventures, went out in search of some of those big Mississippi River cat. Didn't find a lot of them. Had some hits and some misses on those, but then we also had to make it a double dipper and went out and tried to get some redfish and found some fired up redfish, but some really good news on the speckled trout and the redfishing down there, what's happened with the Mississippi River, so we'll show you that. Now, speaking of catfish, you did a little bit of catfishing too.
With one of the biggest guys I ever had in a boat, man, and his dad. And let me tell you what, when this story on this young man, his adventures in football came a long way. He's supposed to come to LSU. By the way, his name is Philip Lodeholt. Now, let me get away. Philip Lodeholt, he plays for the Minnesota Viking. He made a two-time All-American in Oklahoma. He was staying and working and going to Southern to be eligible to go to LSU. He'd have been on the same offensive line with Big Johnson. And something happened at Southern ain't too popular, you know, what goes on over there right now. That's another story. But the man is a tremendous fisherman, loved to fish. Him and his dad, we had him. We had the guy from, used to be at Don Seafood, Duke Landry. Duke Landry got arrested, and I'm telling you what, is in Watson, Louisiana. He was there, and what else can I say? We spent 2 days with him eating and fishing and catfishing, and Chris was there. We had Mr. Bazron, that Bazron Meats, brought us some steaks that was so tender, it was unbelievable. We had ribeyes, we had beans, snap beans. It's almost a fishing and eating show. So, and it was just the spirit of that. So it's more about than catfishing. We was at my nephew's camp, a large home on False River. And if you know, they've been having a lot of catfish caught from there. We didn't catch a lot of them, but they're the perfect eating size, and that's what we were there for.
All right, very good. We're also going to take a little travel back in time. This weekend coming up is the Golden Meadow-Fourchon Tarpon Rodeo, and we were down there for the media day, and we're going to bring you some activities that you can participate in if you're headed down that way this weekend.
Also, Chris and his family were down there, and some of his family were down there staying at Sand Dollar. They were kayaking, and then some of the people in the family were also in boats and catching bull reds. We got some pictures, we got some video. Chris will come on and tell us more about that later on too. So, and we're gonna revisit, you know, Elmer's Island. Well, we've got time for the next couple of weeks, and then on the bridge. We had a lot of what we call Grand Isle experiences, and in the next month, we got all kind of rodeos going on down there. So you'll be hearing more about Grand Isle.
All right, we also have the Flambeau Outdoor News, a couple controversial topics. We're going to touch on some of the goings-on dealing with red snapper. We also had a BASS contestant who was disqualified up in the state of New York. It's going to be very devastating for his chances for the Angler Year. We'll talk to you about that. Plus the Berkeley Abu Garcia fishing report. Pretty extensive fishing going on, both saltwater and freshwater wise. And you can catch it all coming up in the next hour here on Paradise, Louisiana.
Courtesy's got your truck, man, so get yourself a deal, man.
Courtesy Automotive is one of the largest and most experienced automotive groups in the South. Courtesy is the clear choice for all your automotive needs. So whether you're looking for a Ford, a Chevrolet, a Ram, Toyota, or a GMC, Courtesy's got your truck.
A big truck, a small truck, Courtesy's got your truck, man.
Here we are in another Rouses store.
We have a special guest with us, Kim Martin. Kim, what do you do here at Rouses?
I am a cake decorator.
Oh, I was smelling cake on the way in. I know Gary didn't pass it up either.
Right.
Welcome to Rouses.
That's for a big reason to come here too. You're one of the best, they told me.
Yes, sir. I am.
Well, Mr. Miller,
I love my job.
I said, Mr. Miller, you want to welcome? He said, no, I got somebody I want to give y'all welcome today. Miss Kimberly, not only a great cake decorator, she is one of the better lady fishermen around in this parish, St. Tammany Parish. You was brought up fishing the pearl.
Yes, sir.
You about like Jeff Brewer. You know how to fish it.
I can fish it.
Would you go with me and show me how to fish the pearl? I just bought a camp in Slidell on Highway 433, Old Settlement, and I want to learn this area.
Don't answer that too quick. He's high maintenance now, let me tell you. And he's also brought some weather here that y'all experienced too.
Yes, you did.
You saw that rain over here this morning?
What's your favorite kind of fishing? We got a lot of different types of fishing in St. Tammany Parish.
I like to go for kind of the smaller stuff, the brim, and
The basics, huh?
yeah, pretty much the basics.
And Pearl River also, once in a while, you hear them as known as the catfish capital of the world.
Yes, sir.
But that's arguable because there's some other places say they're the capital of the world, but I don't know. Pearl River catfish are pretty good, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for welcoming us. And soon as you got some sugar-free cake?
I do.
You heard that? We might take one home. Here we go. Y'all come by Rouses and see Miss Kimberly. Birthdays, weddings, anything you want. Is that right?
That's right. We can do it for you.
That's it. Stay tuned for more Paradise, Louisiana.
Get that starfish!
If you want to be like these anglers,
We might have a star winner, folks!
then you only need two things, a CCA Star entry and a bit of luck. Because if you don't enter, you could miss out on over $500,000 in prizes, including a new Chevy Silverado, over 25 divisions including a new bank fishing, ladies division, and Louisiana Sportsman's bonus prize of $10,000 in cash. Anyone can win, but you must have a star entry. Register today at ccastar.com.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana, in honor of National Catfish Day, which Ronald Reagan declared that back in 1987, last weekend. Captain Ryan Lambert, myself, decided we were going to honor the catfish a little bit and try to catch some of those big Mississippi River catfish. You know, he's always playing with everything down there, and we spent a little bit of time trying to catch some catfish down there. Had a pretty decent time doing that. Then decided to make a run out and catch some redfish. Picked up a couple of nice reds, met up with the rest of his crew, his brother Terry Lambert, professional guide, and some of his other fishing guides down there. They were catching speckled trout, brought some live bait, fishing under a popping cork, and I would say by 10 o'clock in the morning, you know how it always goes. You got 99 fish, you got 4 fishermen, you got a limit of 100. They were trying to struggle to get that one last fish, which they finally got and headed in.
Let me ask you about the catfish, because the Mississippi River, usually you see shows, and Ron has done it before, they're monster catfish. You catching them, blue cat, yellow cat, you catch
Channel cats, all
What
three.
y'all were using for bait?
We were using the trout bellies, the trout throats, and some of the rib sections of the speckled trout. That's what but there's so many things you can use down there.
But that's right. But what you think caused it? The water falling too fast? It's a little harder to locate?
That water was rushing through there. I mean, that river's still kind of high. And speaking of that, he talks about it. The Mississippi River affects a lot of different places with our diversions and the amount of fresh water coming in through Pearl River, Wrigley, some of the other areas. No place It lives and dies with fresh water from the Mississippi River, like Venice and Buras and Plaquemines Parish. And it's hurt them this year. It's pushed a lot of fish to the east towards Shell Beach and Delacroix and Hopedale. It's pushed a lot of fish to the west. It's helped out areas like Lafitte, Grand Isle, and even west of there. And finally now that river's getting to a nice steady drop. Water's going to be clearing up, getting salty, and they're getting ready to turn on for their saltwater fishing. But we'll take you here now, and if you want to get into some of that Mississippi River catfishing, Captain Ryan Lambert's got some tips on that, as well as kind of a forecast of what's to come on the saltwater action in Plaquemines Parish.
Well, when the river comes down a little bit, you know, they'll come and they'll start boiling. If you chum them or feed them or go to a deep spot and you can see them on a depth finder. Right now the river's, it's about 7 foot, so a couple of more foot it'll start turning real nice color, and then you'll be able to get on. And I mean monster catfish. You know, people from all over the country, that's a big deal, catching 60, 70, 80-pound catfish. We just take it for granted. I just had a nice hit. And we seem to take it for granted here that we have such a resource that we don't even use. But I tell you what, they got some trophy catfish in here.
And that is not what you want to see on National Catfish Day.
Like I said, the river's falling, all the bait's coming this way, so a lot of the fish will come this way. They've been in between the two rivers, and now they'll start pouring in toward the river. As you saw the bait today, it just came down this week, so the bait's coming first, then there's trout will come, then the bull reds will just come in here like crazy. So in the next week or so, this place is gonna catch on fire, thank God. Jerry had 99 when we left him, so you know, it's been live shrimp for him. And a lot of the boys, I'm the only one not throwing live shrimp these days, but everybody, you know, in the summertime, live shrimp seems to be the deal. You know, I like my plastic, I like to throw my Z-Man and that kind of stuff, so I'm just old school, that's all. You know, the other day I did just as good as everybody else, it just took me longer. Again, even the redfish are pushed way in between the Chapelline and the Mississippi. All that's coming home, and when it does, the redfish in here is gonna catch on fire, and I like to sight fish, fly fish, spinner bait, topwater, anything. I just like to watch him when he hit it.
He didn't get the memo this is National Catfish Weekend, did he?
Let's throw more of that. Up and down. There he is. That's a stud fish. Yeah, no wonder he's so bad. Where it really starts happening when he gets to 3 at the Carrollton Gauge in New Orleans. Right now, if we just, it's 7 right now, this will be good enough for the redfish to start pouring in here. We just have to give it a couple of weeks and it's on. Look, a fish will still bite plastic after all these years.
There we go. Boy, that's a nice redfish, Ryan. Now, if you don't want to do the catfish thing for National Catfish Day, you got options down here like redfish.
You can count on Jerry Lane.
At Jerry Lane, they rolled the red carpet out for me.
It's always been Jerry.
You know what? It's tradition, it's family, and that's what keeps us coming back to Jerry Lane.
Get in the lane, get in the lane. Get in the lane, get in the lane. Get in the lane, get in the lane.
We're a Jerry Lane family.
Always lead to. You can count on Jerry Lane.
Big Phil, what brought you back to Louisiana?
Had to come back to get some good Cajun cooking from Duke Landry.
Good Cajun cooking?
Yes, sir.
I thought it would be redfish to go in the big lake again.
I also like to see some redfish and some speckled trout, things like that. But first, I had to take care of the food.
You know what we're doing here. You got you and your dad, but we getting ready to catch catfish in Falls River.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan. I'm ready for that too.
Here we are at Falls River enjoying a Louisiana buffet. Over here, it's provided by Duke Seafood, and this stuff is excellent. If you want more of it, come see us in Watson.
Welcome to a beautiful day on Falls River here. We're at my nephew Roddy Raspone's beautiful house here on the lake. They keep growing, they keep getting bigger, and we got our annual trip with Mr. Phil Lodho Sr. and Big Phil. Junior, he ain't much junior. Phil, you didn't quit growing.
No, sir.
You know, we've been talking about fishing, we've been talking about food, we've been eating food. We got Duke Landry over there, got Dukes over there in Watson.
Yes, sir.
And Jay Russo, one of the managers at the Cajun Outboards, and Jay got that beautiful skeeter here to do it. I got a Pro Drive. They say they catch them in the flats, they catfish. So all I can say is, we burning daylight now.
Let's go.
We late. Let's go. We all ready?
Yes, sir.
In the North Flats, all we're gonna do is kind of drift. Hopefully we'll find a few fish. Just little red worms and night crawlers and pretty much it.
Net.
Started out fishing at a young age. I say about 6 years old. My dad had me out there in Oklahoma. We were fishing, did a lot of fishing on the lakes, a lot of dock fishing, things like that. You know, didn't always love it at first, but then it grew on me as I got older. I would say about 8, 9, 10 years old. That's when I really started liking it, getting out there with them, because I knew a little better, you know, what I was doing. So, you know, about 90% of the time I'm fishing is me and my dad. You know, we hit a lot of reservoirs and lakes out in Colorado, catch some smallmouth bass, some trout, things like that. It's always a good time to just get away with me and him and do a little fishing. Come out here every year, try to catch some good fish, which we always do. Have a great time. So fishing for me is all about spending time with my dad. He always loved to fish, so I mean, whenever I get a chance to do it with him, I take advantage of it.
You know, with me and Phil, we used to just go out there by ourselves early in the morning. Early in the morning, load them up in the van. And being a young kid, you know, you got them right there with you. Show them the stuff that's out there in the wilderness of Oklahoma. He'll see it out there, and you make him afraid, so he'll stay right there with you. You know, keep his interest on you. And that was fun.
When I think about my most eventful trip, happened at a very early age. One of my first times on a boat, we were still living out in Oklahoma. My dad had rented one of those tin boats from the military base there. Got a little weather. We were out in the middle of the water, got a little weather. And it was, we had a good day fishing before that, so he didn't want to leave right away. And then, got a little weather out there, and the next thing you know, that boat started rocking, almost touching side to side. So, you know, I finally cried enough to where he went on ahead and took us inside. But that was probably my most eventful day, because we were literally right in the middle of the lake, so we had a ways to get back. And it was just one of them good old-fashioned tin boats, but we made it back, and we had some good fish too. So it was a good trip altogether. Just a little scary for me.
What kind of fish?
We were with catfish, I think, that day. We were getting some cats out there in Oklahoma. So
the biggest secret is to just get him out there. Get him out there when they're young. Just you and him. Keep his interest on you. You know, watching what you're doing, and you know, because the thing about the kids is, you know, you take them out there with their little friends, they gonna want to do everything else but fish. You know, and he'll watch you, he'll enjoy it. Get him his little rod and reel, and then once he catch that first fish, you ain't only got the fish hooked, you got him hooked. You know, you don't love it, and you don't love it. Whatever. Every time he go out fishing, that's his biggest thrill is to catch that fish.
I got a lot of teammates of mine up there do some fishing. We travel, you know, north Minnesota, do some walleye fishing. Supposed to go on a muskie trip soon, so do some muskie fishing too. You know, it's a little bit different style of fishing up there, some different fish, but it's a lot of fun though. You know, catching walleye and bass and things like that out there is pretty fun.
Even when we go out there in Minnesota, or it doesn't matter where we are, if this fishing they have, everything bad, you want to go fishing. I don't have to ask him now. He asks me most of the time. You know, let's go fishing. Let's do some fishing. And you know, it's just an enjoyment. And especially being that he's a professional athlete now, I'm pretty sure this is his time, his downtime, and his chance to relax. No pressure. He's out there just doing what he loves. Really loves to do. What he loves to do with his spare time. It's kind of fun because I watch his little boys, and they just like he was. So I'm pretty sure that over time they're gonna enjoy it just the same.
A good little mess of them. Not bad for Falls River. Good calm day, a little cloudy, kept it kind of cool, but it was fun. Good company. The best way to do these would be frying them whole. Just score them up, season them, and fry them in your fish fry, your cream meal, and just sit down with a loaf of bread and tear them up. A little bit of tartar sauce, can't go wrong.
Ask me about my Tempur-Pedic.
Ask me how fast I fall asleep.
Why not talk to someone who's sleeping on the most highly recommended bed in America?
Ask me about staying asleep.
Tempur-Pedic owners are more satisfied than owners of any traditional mattress brand.
Ask me how it feels after 10 years.
Tempur-Pedic, the most highly recommended bed in America.
Ask about Tempur-Pedic at Olin's, where you always get the guaranteed low price. Olin's is the only store in Baton Rouge and Lafayette with the full line of Tempur-Pedics.
Box combo, please.
At Raising Cane's, we do one thing, and we do it better than anyone else. So why not let our food do the talking?
Love in the window.
Raising Cane's, only the best chicken finger meals. One love.
Heat of the summer, light line, tungsten helps a lot, so you can feel a lot of trash down there. Trash is everywhere, in between the piers, on the piers. This lake does get a lot of boat traffic, not necessarily a lot of fishing pressure, but it gets a lot of boat traffic. And I think when that happens, these fish just kind of shut up. And you got to do, you got to throw little shaky heads and little worms and that type of stuff to coax them into biting.
Look here.
Oh, got one behind me.
Got double. Double.
There you go.
I was going to sleep.
We had to wake you up somehow. Shoot, we knew a fish would be.
Yeah.
You're watching Paradise, Louisiana.
This is our love. This is our life. This is our home, Louisiana. This is our day. Come what may. This is our forever long. This is our home,
It's the summer of sizzle at the all-new Honda of Covington Power Sports. The #7 power sports dealer in the nation. Get sizzling savings on a huge selection of Honda ATVs, side-by-sides, generators, and mowers. Right now, buy the Honda 4Trax Rancher for $37.99. $37.99 delivers the 4Trax Rancher. Plus, the Honda of Covington Power Sports Service Center is ready to keep your Honda running longer. Come on and find your happy Honda place at the all-new Honda of Covington Power Sports.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana. Gary, this Thursday, one of the biggest saltwater rodeos starts off down at Golden Meadow-Fourchon.
Second oldest?
I believe it is.
60-something years.
68 maybe? They talk about how old it is. It's been around a long time.
Yeah, but you know, and I will look at it. I follow it every year. Sometimes I'm not been able to go over there. We spread around. I know Joe used to go every year, and you've been a couple times. But we always go to that media day because they feed you, they bring out fishing. But the animals of that rodeo, it's been a bunch of our friends, a bunch of people we know, from Chris Moran, Mike DiVincenzi. I used to go all the time with all the big names, Dr. Bankston and them, and always we see the different people and the people that really push Fourchon and Golden Meadow and all those areas. But now we got a lady admiral. First time in history, so that's all I can tell you. And there's a lot of fish caught in them rodeo.
Great place to go this weekend, full-blown categories. Let's find out more. We talked to some of the people who are the shakers and movers behind it. Chris Moran, who operates the marina. We also have Eddie Calle and Davey Bro talking about the Golden Meadow-Fourchon Tarpon Rodeo.
It reminds me of the days I can remember being a child and going and seeing the fish and not being able to sleep every night because I couldn't wait to go out because my parents, my family fished this rodeo. I mean, from before I was born, and and when I see the kids coming now, you can see the excitement in their eyes, and it's our future, really. I mean, having these events, it's the future of a marina business and all the businesses down here, getting the kids involved and getting excited about it, and then when they become grown-up kids like us. They continue to do it.
Rodeo years back where it was started off in the Golden Meadow area, joined up with Fourchon once the boat launch was built up, so it became the Golden Meadow-Fourchon International Tarpon Rodeo. And over the years, the group that handled the rodeo kind of faded away, and a group from the port kind of helped take it on and bring it to where it is today. We actually had the help of we were looking for someone to really take it over and really push hard, and we found out with the chamber, Lafourche Chamber of Commerce came in with us, and they've done a great job in the last couple of years of making it a family-oriented rodeo, getting people to participate on the 4th of July weekend. So they even have a cook-off. People can come and pay a small fee and enjoy different types of food and stuff. So there's something for everyone to do, even if you're not fishing.
Well, it's a really good family-oriented event. We have a big turnout. A lot of people come out to fish this rodeo. It's always been targeted around family, and I've been fishing this for quite some time. And as a boy, I would come in and fish, and it keeps getting better and better every year. You have all these people that come in, and from all over, local and out of town, come in and do this, and it's a real fun time. Gets out, get the kids involved. I've been doing it for quite a while with all my children and stuff, and as a guide, I sometimes go out and bring people fishing and stuff, but I like to do it just to bring my family and friends that don't get a chance to be able to do this. And it's a real good rodeo, a real good time to be able to bring people out and come together and enjoy what Mother Nature has to give to us.
We have 4 divisions this year. We have a hook and line division for adults. We have a children's division. We have a kayak division that we expanded last year to be, rat reds and a Cajun slam and speckled trout, and we had a lot of interest, and that category is really growing. And then we still have our scuba division.
Oh, I think the quality is going to be, if weather permitting, I think the quality is going to be outstanding. I mean, look at the trout this year. We had shrimp, a bumper crop of shrimp, and the trout are really big, a lot of trout. And the offshore scene, you know, with the economy and all, it hasn't really been hit that hard over the past year. You know, a lot of people had to save money and that kind of thing. And that all comes into play. I mean, I think we've already seen the tuna action's been outstanding, the bottom fishing's been outstanding, the mangroves, everything. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good year.
Come to the family-owned and operated Catfish Casino in Port Allen today, where the Vegas-style video poker machines are ready for your entertainment. Catfish Casino is the finest, cleanest, classiest casino around. And Catfish 50-style diner is now serving seafood daily, along with your favorite home-cooked specials 24/7. Hey, Catfish is fun. Catfish is exciting. So come to the unsinkable Catfish Casino in Port Allen. Over the river 2 miles west of exit 151.
Who doesn't want to save money on fuel? Now, Shell and the Fuel Rewards Network are putting you in control of how much you pay for fuel. Simply buy whatever's on your shopping list. Clothes, groceries, even dinner out. And earn cents per gallon savings at participating retailers nationwide. Now, fuel prices are in your hands. So why wait? Sign up at fuelrewards.com today and turn shopping power into saving power.
Visit Cracker Barrel convenience stores before heading fishing or hunting. We have more than you expect.
Welcome back to Paradise, Louisiana, and joining us on this side of the camera for a change is Chris Lecoq, our editor. And Chris, you made a little kayak trip recently.
Yeah, well, we made a kayak trip. That wasn't the only thing that was going on. The initial trip, we went down to Grand Isle. Me and a couple of my buddies who said we're gonna go down there and kayak fish and see what we can do. One of my buddies had just bought a kayak and he'd been chomping at the bit to get down to the coast and get into the water. We launched from Sand Dollar Marina, paddled east to the end of the island to a sandbar area right along Barataria Pass. There we anchored the kayaks and we weighed fish using artificial undercarp. What we found were a lot of 11-inch specks. We had a good time with them, but every so often you would get a keeper. The majority of them were throwbacks. Well, last week, remember how we talked about the Grand Isle experience? Well, I had a whole lot of other family members down there that they did the Grand Isle experience. They were there from Thursday to Sunday. For the first couple days, my dad and my mom and aunt and uncle, they were in a boat. They were fishing around Full Bayous Pass. And the report was they got a lot of small trout, 10, 11 inches. They had a good time. They managed to get a good redfish. Saturday and Sunday, they had some more boats out there, and they were fishing around Bassa Bassa. They had said they had better fish, but the highlight of the trip for sure was my brothers got twin boys. Well, they come down to Grand Isle every year. They live in Oklahoma. They eat, sleep, breathe fishing. They'll fish 24/7. I think they even slept with fishing poles in their hands. And they got to get in a boat one afternoon. It was the first time they fished in a boat in Grand Isle, and they just enjoyed it. And they got on some fish. And my brother said at one point, all the adults in the boat put their fishing poles down, let the boys handle the fishing poles, and they were netting fish, baiting hooks, and that's all they did. So I got a little bit of words with them about fishing down in Grand Isle and their experience.
All right, here it is. Some tips to help you plan your Grand Isle experience.
Before I came to Grand Isle, I went to Paradise, Louisiana.
And that's where you got all your tips?
Yeah. We're from Oklahoma, and we mostly fish freshwater. It's more different because saltwater is a lot more aggressive, and you can basically catch a fish on anything, and freshwater is freshwater.
These boys, they love Grand Isle as much as I did whenever I was their age. And like Cole said, they studied before they even got here because they knew what fish they wanted and what baits they wanted to use and all that stuff. And spent the whole time on the beach fishing or in a boat fishing, basically, since we got here.
We went to a spot and we caught. It was so fast. The bite was so fast that they wouldn't even bite it long. We'd have to flip them in the boat, then get a new shrimp on it, and put it back in the water.
And what were y'all fishing with?
Shrimps. Live shrimp.
And then what?
Old-fashioned rig, or whatever.
They were calling it an old-fashioned rig. Just lead, spec rig, gold and white.
your truck, man, so get yourself a deal, man.
Courtesy Automotive is one of the largest and most experienced automotive groups in the South. Courtesy is the clear choice for all your automotive needs. So whether you're looking for a Ford, a Chevrolet, a Ram, Toyota, or a GMC, Courtesy's got your truck.
A big truck, a small truck, Courtesy's got your truck, man.
Stay tuned for more Paradise, Louisiana.
At Rouses, we love food as much as you do. That's why it's no surprise our chefs aren't the only cooks who work here. Rouses butchers know how to select, trim, and cook every cut we sell. Of course, our produce experts are the very best in the field.
And on the field.
And you can always count on our seafood department for the best catch.
Heads up, Brandon.
The best quality and the best price is why the best chefs and cooks
shop and work at Rouses.
Welcome to the Flambeau Outdoor News section of Paradise, Louisiana. And Gary, a couple of controversial issues coming up. Still a lot of information not out yet, so we'll have to kind of stay on top of it before we can give you the full stories on it. But probably the biggest news was our Bass Angler of the Year contestant, Greg Hackney here from Louisiana, was disqualified in a very important tournament that took place up at Cayuga, New York, getting into some areas that supposedly were warned against being open to fishermen. They were considered private waters, not open to the public. He got into these areas for whatever reason and was disqualified. It's not going to help him.
Big news. It was all over the internet. You know, and Greg, you know, people say, well, you're supposed to know the rules, and they had it marked and all the news. It is hard to mark. It's hard to mark areas on a public lake, and then all of a sudden you're on public property, you're on private property. Who else has that problem in Louisiana?
Well, that's another story.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about what's going on, where they're posting the Louisiana Coalition, people fighting, you know, and there's always things on both sides. If somebody builds a canal and it ties in and they got a subdivision and subdivision canals, you know, there's always three sides to a story, like my buddy says, you know. His side, her side, and the real side, or whatever you want to say. So, Don, I don't know, we don't want to go there and take up anybody, but you know how devastating that was to be unclear? And here's Hackney, he's about to run away with it. He had 17 pounds in that day, and you lose all that. I think right now he done dropped down to what, 4th or 5th? I don't know where he is in the Angler of the Year, and he was about to blow him away like he was a couple of years ago in one of his favorite places. He won up there, or he played real high over there last year. So,
well, we got some audio from Trip Weldon with the Bass Angler Sportsman Society, kind of giving their perspective on states and also the problems associated with private versus public waters.
And I said it on Bassmaster Live this morning. I talked about the absurdity of this law, and I need to temper that a little bit by saying, I know you can't go out here and dig a hole without a permit. And bass should be all about anglers' rights. And I think anytime you have something like that, it should be incumbent, the onus should be on the government and the landowner to put a sign up there that says, per New York State Regulation 1234 XYZ, you cannot enter this area. We can't go around and mark all of them off, but we did by Google Maps. So it was clear on the maps the anglers had, and he made a grave error, you know, and it cost him 17 pounds and 8 ounces. But I want to say to the anglers, to the local anglers and everybody, encourage your legislators to make the state of New York enforce the law that way, they need to be posted. Same thing in Louisiana, same thing in South Carolina. Bass should be an advocate for angler rights. And if they want to claim those areas by law and they're entitled to do that, that's fine. But with that, they should be required to properly post those. Otherwise, how's the general boating public going to know?
Judging from Tripp's comment, it looks like Louisiana is one of those states that may be up for consideration for not coming for those reasons about, you know, waters being private and public, but we'll pick that up later.
Yeah, but I don't believe they're crazy enough to take Toledo Bend off their schedule right now.
Yeah, they don't really have that much of a problem in Toledo Bend. We're talking about coastal Louisiana, right?
Coastal Louisiana, right.
All right, another issue that came up and kind of reared its ugly head, red snapper. I mean, the saga goes on and on and on with a new twist. There was some newspaper reports that put out a story that was misinterpreted that said that the secretary, the head of the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, Charles Melanson, was opposed to turning over the red snapper management in the Gulf of Mexico from the feds to the states and around the Gulf Coast and the region. He made it very clear after that 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 is not the case. His concern.
A lot of people didn't
get the
take it
memo
that
on that. You're right. And
the story. I mean, the headlines sometimes are different than what the true story is, but we might need to get him on here and explain to everybody what's going on.
Well, his concern is what he told me on the radio, that not so much about, he's definitely for regional and state management of the red snapper. He agrees, and he's been quoted before, that they're not doing a good job, the feds, that is, and we all know that. But his concern is, do we have the proper funding to pay for this authority?
That's what everybody wants.
Well, we had increases in saltwater license fees, and that's some contention from some of our, the CCA organization and the Teddy Roosevelt Conservation Partnership.
Don Dubuque?
Well, I'm asking too. I want to know.
First question. When all that came up, you was at the forefront saying, hey, you want to increase it $25, whatever.
What do we get for our money? And now the money was, the increase in the license fee was put in. We should have the money. If we don't, why not? And how much is it going to cost? We need a good accounting of it. So we're going to stay on top of that, and this is going to be an ongoing story.
I'm going to give them benefit of the doubt. Now, I don't want nobody, I'm already getting enough emails on this subject, but I don't want anybody to say, well, the respondent's agreeing. I'm not agreeing with him at all from what I saw. But this man has been in Congress. He knows sometimes people tell you, you got to do this, and they don't give you no money to do it. So he might be leaning this way, he might be gun shy, but we're going to give him a chance to answer it. I promise you that.
I think this all could be answered with a line from a very famous movie. What we have here is a failure to communicate. I think it's a big communication problem. We'll see if that's the case.
We'll also try to get Garrett Graves on.
Right.
We got all that good news that Garrett is building, Congress is moving on fast. And we got some people that watch this pretty close. You had Chris Macalusa. You know, you watch what I'm telling you, you're going to have Joe. Joe been following this stuff since he was 17, I believe, right? Because Joe is real up to date on this, and I know he's probably upset about some of this, so he's going to get the answers. And then you hear the rumors of what's coming out in the New Orleans paper. So let's wait and see. Todd Mason, I'm going to mention some names.
All right, some good news. Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries has announced the hunting seasons for next year and all seasons, including waterfowl. This is the first time they've ever been out this early. If you go to their website, you can plan your off days, plan your vacations, and your hunting trips by what's on that calendar of events. And all the new regulations that were put in is also there. It's good that we got the internet. That's a good thing the internet's brought about.
Right, you're right. And one thing, too, the hottest it's been these last couple of weeks, you could say, hope that cold front comes early and push the ducks down and get rid of this humidity.
You're still going to be sweating doing dove and teal season, but that's part of it. All right, we come back. It'll be our Berkeley Abu Garcia fishing report.
Don't go too fast. I want to remind people, and tell you, it ain't but 3 weeks away. The DU State Convention is going to be in New Orleans at Marriott, one of the convention centers on July 21st is the Saturday. You getting a national award you didn't go up to Philadelphia to get, but you be getting a national award, Communicator of the Year for DU. And that's a national award. Congratulations. And if y'all want to go, you're a DU member, get down there. The convention going to be the weekend of July 21st.
Well, thank you, and I'll be sure and bring that award here, and you can see it. Share it. All right, back with the Berkeley Abu Garcia fishing report right after this on Paradise, Louisiana.
Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change has been keeping cars and trucks in Baton Rouge clean and running smooth for over 50 years. At Benny's, we feature professional car washing, complete detailing, high-tech waxing and buffing, interior cleaning, and tire shine. Benny's, one stop for car maintenance with complete oil and lube services and even state inspections at our express locations. Visit one of our 5 convenient locations, including our newest store on Greenwell Springs Road. And don't forget to stop by Be Quick Convenience Store and Fuel Stop. Benny's Car Wash and Oil Change. Drive in dirty, drive out clean.
Who doesn't want to save money on fuel? Now, Shell and the Fuel Rewards Network are putting you in control of how much you pay for fuel. Simply buy whatever's on your shopping list. Clothes, groceries, even dinner out. And earn cents per gallon savings at participating retailers nationwide. Now, fuel prices are in your hands. So why wait? Sign up at fuelrewards.com today and turn shopping power into saving power.
Visit Cracker Barrel convenience stores before heading fishing or hunting. We have more than you expect.
It's the summer of sizzle at the all-new Honda of Covington Power Sports, the #7 power sports dealer in the nation. Get sizzling savings on a huge selection of Honda ATVs, side-by-sides, generators, and mowers. Right now, buy the Honda 4Trax Rancher for $37.99. $37.99 delivers the 4Trax Rancher. Plus, the Honda of Covington Power Sports Service Center is ready to keep your Honda running longer. Come on and find your happy Honda place at the all-new Honda of Covington Power Sports.
Welcome to the Berkeley Abu Garcia Fishing Report. Gary, offshore fishing, we had some really good days last week. Early part of this week, kind of bumpy and windy out there, but the guys that got out did excellent again on the snapper. There were good reports of tuna, the wahoo, mangrove snapper showed up. The only fish really I've heard is a little bit short that we were really hoping for was the cobia lemonfish. Not a whole lot of good reports, but there is a giant one on the CCA starboard.
But if you look at that picture Sam sent us last week in Cocodrie, that whole bottom had a lot of lemon fish in them. There were no monsters, but they were all there. You know, and you're talking about tuna, you know, there's a big run on those blackfin tuna. For some reason, they're so much fun to catch. You can use them on a lot of tackle, but they still fight. And to me, you know, tuna's tuna. When it's on the grill or how these people, these chefs cook it, what you think the big difference in the way they taste from the yellowfin to the blackfin?
I can't hardly taste any difference at all. I'm sure there is, and people say they can tell the difference. I can't.
But how come wahoo is always the favorite? Everybody I ever talk to.
A lot of people like it on the grill. A lot of people like that wahoo.
Well, we quit talking about eating over there. I got some reports from over there. They had a tournament, that pipeline tournament going on. Probably going to be a new member, our family, Bruce Wagons Pack. He engaged to my niece. They got engaged the other day, and I told him better get ready, better watch. He's going to mess his fishing up. But he was over there fishing Fourchon and fishing that tournament. He took first place in it. He was bragging, sent me some pictures. So thank you for sending them, Bruce, for the unguided division. That pipeline tournament is very popular now over there. And also in Grand Isle, Tommy Vistream and his wife Jolene still finding pogies and free lining shrimp on the rocks from Fourchon and them all down. He sent me a picture of 5-2 he caught, but he was after his wife. Jolene brought in a 6-something who's leading the store as of Saturday. She's leading the store over there in the Grand Isle area. Saltwater down in the west part of the state, there's a lot of things still coming from West Cove, but do you have any more coming from that area?
Pretty much the same thing I heard. West Cove area has been a little bit on the limited side. Some good topwater action over there, but really the east side of the state is really the one on fire. Even though that full moon cycle kind of waned away this week, the fishing continues to be good. Mystico Rocks, all the platforms. They tell me you almost got a ticket to get up to one of those platforms out in Black Bay, Bay Elwha. They're catching them out there. The islands, they had some dirty water around the Breton Island chain. It made it a little bit difficult fishing over there. But as you move a little further towards the river, that area we talked about around Plaquemines Parish, that's starting to really improve. That ground between Delacroix Island and also out towards Plaquemines, like Stone Island, some of those areas over there, they're starting to really turn on. Not a lot of big trout, but plenty of school trout to keep you busy there. Redfish coming in, and the further that Mississippi River drops, the better it's going to get on both sides of the river, the east and the west side. Then when you get into Pontchartrain, that Wrigley's area, that deeper water, as usual, the trout are starting to move into there. They're picking up some monster redfish. As long as you go there when the tide's not running real hard, you can hold the bottom, bring you some dead bait or live bait, and you'll catch a mixed catch there. That west shoreline of Lake Bourne, still holding redfish. We had that on a couple of weeks ago. Mike Gallo and I were catching them. Still got good reports of that coming in. And there's starting to be an increase in number of triple tail that are being spotted out there. And that's a good fish. Like Mike says, when you get out there and you catch your trout and maybe your reds early in the day, and then when it really starts to get the heat of the day, in the middle of the day, when it gets in those 90s, then you run the boat and you scout around and you look for those triple tail. Keeps you cool.
I think you told me this years ago, you know, how popular that is. It's like a saltwater sac-a-lait or crappie. But you know, we've been on our show, Joe and them did a show one time before with those people, and Eric and them that fish, Captain Eric and them fish are always in the Pontchartrain area. But at Grand Isle in the Fourchon area, you know, this guy just told us last night, they take a big piece of plywood, take a whole sheet of plywood, put the crab floats on each corner, and they go out there early and they put it out there, let it stay all night, and all of a sudden they go over there and do it, and they catch out with live shrimp. Around those things, they get on it. Now you've always told me that's what y'all look for.
Crab floats, pilings, yeah. If you can put your own out there, if you can't find crab
they've trees that float.
Yeah, anything. Somebody, who was that, caught one under a dead nutria one time. It was floating, and they caught it, pulled the triple tail out from underneath it. They stack up underneath any kind of structure. I think I'd have passed eating it. It's supposed to be good table fare. Yep.
But, you know, down out in the west, I was telling about Vermilion Bay. These rivers are falling now, but I haven't gotten a report. Rocky Landry told me he was about 2 weeks away from, he was going to start fishing that way. He was fishing Grand Isle then. But I ain't heard from Captain Steve Smith. This is the word, Captain Steve. So give me some reports in Vermilion Bay. I know some of y'all sneaking out there now early, probably catching those big trout in that area. Offshore, and we got an offshore tournament be coming up. I'm going to bring that young lady over there. They're putting this tournament on at Cajun Tackle in Lake Charles. It's going to be a big tournament. The only trouble is it's going to probably be the same time as the Grand Isle Tarpon Rodeo. So people that want to travel, y'all got a big offshore tournament coming up there in Lake Charles. Let me tell you this. These guys that are catching these fish at Grand Isle, in Leeville, they're going behind them mountains, them lakes, under the new high rise. They're looking for birds. They're finding the birds diving. They're catching all the nice sized trout. They're catching keeper trout. They catch them on plastic and live shrimp. Up and down that island, people in Leeville, they still catch them. They're running from Leeville to Manila Bay, catching their tide right, and they're catching fish. That's my saltwater report. I don't believe I left anybody out. By the way, Bruce and them would catch them in the East Timberland, by the way, too. Now, Freshwater had a big tournament over there. The tournament's growing bigger and bigger. They had a bunch of boats. Winston Michel and his wife, they saw the directors of the tournament. Fishers of Men tournament. Our friend Steve Fontana, I was supposed to make a trip with him this week on how to catch fish in the spillway and the Bell River side. Hit them early and get out of there. He said, we'll be out there at 9:30, and he's going to tell me how to fish that thing with the tournament, and he's going to share that information. Anybody knows Steve Fontana? Well, him and Raymond Knapp's won the Fisher Men tournament down of there. Down Bayou Lacombe, over there by where we at, where I need a lot learning, the Pearl River. I've been getting some beautiful pictures of brim, and the brim, the big-sized brim. I can also get more pictures coming from Saline and Lotto again. Dave Roberts and my buddy David Rapolo, they still fishing. His uncle, 80-year-old uncle, they are wearing them brim out in Saline and Lotto. Using crickets, using worms, using this basic stuff. For the people that live in Generette or in that area, Bayou Texas producing bass. Jed Meir is sending me pictures over there. Not only he's sending me bass, but he's fishing at Rouses Landing, out of Rouses Landing. They're catching some beautiful sac-a-lait. So I have never fished that. Y'all invite me. I want to come over there and fish that way, especially for them sac-a-lait. They're catching a big sac-a-lait. Other reports, right now. The spillway's dropping. I'm getting reports up and down Chapelai, the spots right now. All the runouts are holding sac-a-lait. If you see that grass seed moving out, a lot of times you're going to see water hydrants. They're going to jam that canal up. But that tide change or the wind change, don't be afraid to fish them, especially if they over stump. If you see them down the bank, them sac-a-lait are right off the edge, and even those bass, they're running a little smaller. But the hottest place going right now is Old River. They're catching sac-a-lait, they're catching brim back in my new lake, and they're catching bass. They catch them on crankbait, shad-colored crankbait, and they catch them on top water and basically worms, just like you always fish. If you fish Old River, now's the time to go.
All right, and if you fish in the Mississippi impoundments, some of the ones we talk about that are real popular, Ross Barnett, Colin Panther Lake, be aware they got new regulations. So check out those regulations if you're fishing in Mississippi and make sure that you notate the difference in the minimum sizes that they've got on those fish.
And I want to thank Brian Brand. Brian, you sending me a lot of pictures lately. You need to give me a little bit more information, and you need to call me one day. I want to make a trip with you.
If that's it, then we'll see you next week. Don't forget, though, to continue to send you your pictures and your reports. Gary at Paradise, Louisiana. He's also like customer service. If you got a complaint or a suggestion, get it on to him. And we'll see you back here again at Rouses for another edition of Paradise, Louisiana.